In order to perform an analysis, EnterCalc 3D requires section properties for members, and it requires a thickness for any shells in the model. So the purpose of this video is to show how we can assign sections to members and thicknesses to shells. It helps when assigning thicknesses or sections to pre-select the target, although it's not necessary. We'll take a look at both ways. What I've done to save a little bit of time is I've created some selection names in this model. So I can come in and pre-select the columns, and that'll help us to assign the section to the columns. Then I'll point out that there are multiple locations where the sections table can be accessed. So here on the Create tab, we could come to Member Properties and we could click Sections. Or if we were in the mode of modifying existing framing, so we were working on the Modify tab, we could come to Modify Member Properties, and there's an option to open the Sections table there. As a third option, if we were working in tabular form, we could be on the Tables tab, and here's an item that would open the same Sections table. And then as a fourth option, over here in the Data Tables category, the second item down is Sections. And if I click that, it opens the same sections table that would have been opened from any of the three previous options. So now what we see is that every model comes in with a default section. We could modify this section if we wanted to, but it's actually far easier to take advantage of the built-in tables in EnterCalc 3D. So I'll insert one new row. And then because I'm working with steel sections, I'll come over to the AISC table button. And I'd like to assign a W14 by 90 to these columns. So I'll scroll down until I find my 14s and then 14 by 90. I'll click on that row and then say OK. And that inserts the 14 by 90 section with all of its corresponding section properties in the sections table. Now, because I've pre-selected those four columns, I can take advantage of this option down here with the checkbox that says assign the active selection to the currently selected members. That's exactly what I want to do. And then I can click apply. Now, at this point, I like to come back up and go to my member display options, and then I like to turn on the section set display so that I can see the effect of what I've just done. And if I focus on the four columns, I can confirm that they are now W14 by 90. So that worked out well. Now, I'll clear all display options. And in this case, let's assign a section to these beams, but let's not pre-select. So I have those multiple different ways of getting into the materials table, or the sections table rather. So I'll come to modify and then member properties sections in this case. And let's say that we want those beams to be W16 by 26. So I'll add one new row. I'll come to the AISC table, scroll down to the 16s, find my 1626, and click OK. Now at this point, there is nothing selected, so it does me no good to say assign it to the active selection. But if I just click the Apply button, I want to show that when I bring the sections table back, it does keep that section. So one option is that I could go through and select these members. Another option that's worth pointing out is that if I come to the Modify tab and then choose Member Properties, and then the first item, also called Member Properties, this opens up a dialog that allows me to select multiple member property items and then assign those all in one step. So in this case, if I want to assign that W16 by 26, I can select it here, and then I can click the Assign button and notice that I get the assignment cursor in this case. That lets me click on multiple members and make that assignment. And then I can right-click to reset, and like we did before, let's take a look at the section set assignment to verify that that actually did something. All right, so there we see that that's yet another way of assigning things, and specifically that was done without having a pre-selected set of members when we actually added the section to the model. Okay, almost done with sections. Let's clarify the view one more time. And then let's assign a section to the girders. So this time I will come back and select by properties using my selection names that I defined. I'll pre-select the girders and say OK. And then I could come to tables just to be different this time, and then we'll come to sections. And then I can insert one new row, go to my AISC table, select a section for that girder, and say OK. And then, yes, I do want to assign this section to the currently selected members, and say apply. And we'll confirm. So now I have 21 by 44 for the girders. Now that completes the assignment of sections to members. As far as section properties are concerned for plates or shells, the only thing that's of interest to us there is the thickness. So in the same way, I'll pre-select those shells, and then what I can do is come to create, and then let's come to shell properties, and notice that there's an item in the table called, or drop down, called thicknesses. When I click that, it opens a table, one default item in there. Again, I could change that thickness to something meaningful, or if I wanted to, I could insert a new row and give it a meaningful label, and then I could establish something like a 16-inch thickness and say assign to the currently selected shells, click apply, and then finally if I come down and choose the option to look at shells, properties, thicknesses, and zoom in, I can see that I've now assigned a 16-inch thickness to all of the shells that represent that footing.